9.
The time is 9 o'clock, and you're listening to CHMA 106.9 FM in Sackville, New Brunswick.
And now it's time for your CHMA News. We're broadcasting from Sackville, New Brunswick, the heart of the Maritimes and the traditional and unceded lands of the Mi'kmaq people. Coming up in the next 15 minutes, we'll have your local news, Atlantic update, weather, sports update, and some community announcements.
Hello, this is Clinton Davis with your CHMA local news. A new exhibition opens tonight at Strutt's Gallery in Sackville, featuring work by Calgary-based artist Ryan Danny Owen. It's in artist talk and opening reception, and it takes place from 5 to 7 p.m. The show itself runs through April 15th, and I spoke with Owen ahead of the opening.
My name is Ryan Danny Owen, and I am a visual artist based in Mohkinstsis, Calgary, Alberta.
Is your first time in Atlantic Canada?
It is actually, yeah. I've never been to anywhere around here, so it's kind of exciting to see Sackville also.
It is winter, but when did you get here, and what's your impression so far?
Well, I brought the cold with me, so I got here on, luckily enough, Blue Monday, which is the most depressing day of the year, so I brought the snow with me. And I really like it. It's a really picture a small town. I really enjoy just the streets. People are also very friendly.
Blue Monday, what date is that?
Blue Monday is the 3rd of January every year.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Lucas.
Typically the saddest day of the year.
Is this your first time doing an art installation at a gallery outside your hometown?
Oh yes, this is my first solo exhibition outside of Calgary, so it's a big leap to come all the way to Sackville from there. It's 2 planes, but yeah, it's just not just go straight here, surprisingly. But yeah, it's my first time kind of doing something that feels this major, so it's really exciting.
Tell me about your piece.
My show is called Dirty Picture 2. It's the follow-up exhibition to my first exhibition called Dirty Picture 1 that is about the creation of a fantasy film set for a porno film. And it's basically like a homage to this tone of blue that's appeared in tons of queer artists' artwork, such as like Felix Gonzalez-Torres or Derek Jarman. And it's this way of examining queer nostalgia and looking at like the falseness and complexities of romanticizing that period of time, as well as making something that is like an intimate space for people to enter into.
So you mentioned that this piece was exploring queerness. Is all of your artwork around that topic?
Yeah, so the way I started doing this kind of conceptual project was I started doing a series called Rubbings, where I found gay porn magazines. I would apply razors or acetone or a bunch of different approaches to kind of make them into compositions of removal. So it was all about looking at history as something that's fading or something that's passing us, and kind of disintegrating an archive, or kind of recontextualizing these images that are seen as like hypersexualized or like disturbing in their own sense of like being a little bit inaccessible to audiences, and turn them into images of loss or ways of looking at time. And that turned into these installation pieces, which were temporal spaces that would only exist for the 3-month period, and then they would be gone. And that was kind of the way that I entered into this work.
Is art something you've done since?
Like, I graduated college in 2017. So I like did very different work for a long time. I did a lot of performance art, but this newer work is stuff that I created within the last 4 or 5 years. But it's newer work in new approaches. It's like for this show, I made a custom stained glass window for the Strutt's Gallery specifically, and that was another way of kind of re-examining my gay porn archives into new conceptual approaches, or kind of making the audience like reconsider these images. Because to take something that is this, again, like a perverse piece of media and turn it into a cathedral glass is a way of like elevating it to a new examination of it, right?
Yeah, is there any comment to Catholicism or religions or the church?
I think that there's, I was obviously raised religious from the prairies and all that, but for me, I think about how, we can, I guess, dissect that media and turn it into something different.
I guess what I wanted to ask, and hopefully the question is no, but have you experienced specific challenges coming up in the art world as a result of?
Well, I come from Alberta, which is, not the most welcoming. Yeah, we really have the whole spread out there, but it's one of those things where it's like, obviously.
Challenges?
Yeah, of course. I've obviously faced a lot of censorship, a lot of removal of my work. I've really struggled to show my work in a lot of places. So it's important to get to see shows like this happening. It's like small community getting to see work like this is really exciting and really challenging and really different.
How long are you here?
Well, I'm only here until Saturday, so if you want to meet me, you got to come to my opening tomorrow and Friday.
Okay, and with looking at it, what do you hope that viewers take away from your exhibit tomorrow night?
I don't know. I hope that when people come into this space, they consider their own connection to queerness and their own connection to nostalgia and identity, but they also just get to enter into this second reality that I really wanted to explore and create. I kind of make these ways of examining my own body in relationship with time and my relationship with the past, and looking at, as a queer individual, the AIDS crisis and what it is to kind of live in these spaces that feel temporal, that feel like they're shifting, that feel like they're moving. So I don't know. We'll see what people feel towards it.
That is artist Ryan Danny Owen premiering the installation Dirty Picture 2 that starts tonight with an opening reception from 5 to 7 p.m. Struts Gallery is also gearing up for their annual fundraiser, and CHMA will bring you more on that next week. Questions, comments, or story ideas, email news@chmafm.com. I'm Clinton Davis with your local CHMA News for Tantramar.
Hi, this is Mark Gorley from the Johnston Point Road, and you're listening to CHMA.
A very good morning, listeners. Here is your CHMA Atlantic update for Friday, January 23rd. First Nation chiefs across Atlantic Canada are calling for an urgent meeting with the federal government after 2 Indigenous men were fatally shot by RCMP officers over the past 2 weeks. A group representing Mi'kmaq, Wolastiki and Pescotamuktahi and Innu communities say they want to meet as soon as possible with federal ministers and senior leadership from the RCMP. The chiefs say they have serious concerns following the deaths of a man on Nekoktuk First Nation in New Brunswick and another on Sipeknegatik First Nation in Nova Scotia last week. Both cases are being investigated by the police watchdog responsible for Nova Scotia and New Brunswick. The New Brunswick government is today expected to release its final report on a mystery brain disease that for years has baffled experts. Nearly 400 New Brunswick residents, mostly in the Acadian Peninsula and Moncton areas, have reported symptoms of what the province has deemed a, quote, neurological syndrome of unknown cause. First reported in 2021, symptoms include memory problems, balance issues, behavioral changes, muscle spasms, and bursts of intense pain. In 2022, health officials said experts found no evidence that a cluster of cases existed following an investigation of 48 patients, 46 of them referred by a single neurologist. Organizations supporting the LGBTQ+ community in Nova Scotia have a new way to access funding. A community impact grant program will now provide up to $25,000 to help strengthen and stabilize nonprofit community groups. The province says grants can be used to cover administrative costs, help conduct work, and better serve underrepresented communities. The government has set aside $150,000 for the program. 2 men are facing multiple charges after a drug bust in New Glasgow yesterday. Police say they executed a search warrant at a home on Pleasant Street around 6:30 a.m. They arrested 2 men and seized cell phones, scales, a large amount of cocaine, methamphetamine, and cash. The men, both in their 30s, faced charges related to trafficking and possession. A Halifax youth accused of being part of a violent extremist group and making child pornography is now facing only one of the 5 charges originally filed against him in October. Crown Attorney Terry Nickerson says charges related to inciting hatred, possessing obscene material, and a child pornography charge had been withdrawn. Nickerson says the Crown determined there was no realistic prospect of convictions on those 4 counts. The last remaining charge against the 16-year-old relates to possessing child pornography. Newfoundland and Labrador Premier Tony Wakeham has replaced the man running the province's healthcare system. The Premier has appointed Ron Johnson, a Newfoundland and Labrador Health Services Vice President, as interim CEO. He replaces Dr. Pat Parfrey, who was the top civil servant in the Department of Health before the former Liberal government appointed him CEO of Health Services a year ago. He was also charged with writing the Health Accord, a multi-year effort to revamp the healthcare system. And that is all for CHMA's Atlantic Update for Friday, Jan 23rd. Coming up shortly is the weather update, then followed by CHMA Sports Update by Brian Nielsen.
Hi, das ist Lasse aus Deutschland und ihr hört CHMA.
And here is your weather update for January 23rd and a few days to follow. First up, yellow warning, cold. A prolonged period of very cold wind chills is expected in all of New Brunswick. Coldest wind chills will be negative 30 to negative 37, coldest for northwestern areas of the province. This would kickstart on Saturday morning up until Sunday morning. A northwesterly flow of Arctic air will bring cold conditions starting Saturday morning, and wind chills are expected to moderate a bit Sunday afternoon. Extreme cold can put anyone at risk. Please dress in layers that you can remove if you get too warm. The outdoor layers should be wind resistant. Cold warnings are usually issued when very cold temperatures or wind chill creates an elevated risk to health, such as frostbite and hypothermia. And now for today's weather forecast. Currently -5, wind chill feels like -10. Maximum would be -5, and tonight it'll drop to -20 degrees Celsius with a 30% chance of flurries. A mix of sun and cloud, 30% chance of flurries this afternoon. Wind becoming southwest 20 kilometers per hour, gusting to 40 this morning. Then west 30, gusting to 50 this afternoon. High of -5, wind chill near -16, UV index 1 or low. And as mentioned, tonight, partly cloudy with 30% chance of flurries, wind west 20 kilometers per hour, gusting to 40, becoming northwest 30, gusting to 50 after midnight. Low of -20, wind chill -15 this evening and -31 overnight. And there is a risk of frostbite. And now let's jump straight into CHMA's Sports Update.
And here's Brian Nielsen with your CHMA Sports Update.
8 games in the association last night to tell you about today. The Denver Chicken Nuggets, they're victorious in Washington, D.C. They defeat the Wizards 107-97. The Charlotte Hornets on the road as well. They defeat the struggling Orlando Magic 124-97. It was the 76ers needing overtime to get past the Houston Rockets at home 128-122. Dallas Mavericks defeat the shorthanded Golden State Warriors 123-115 at home. Chicago Bulls with 5-point victory over the Minnesota Timberwolves. The San Antonio Spurs moved to 31-14 on the season with a 126-109 victory over the Utah Jazz in Salt Lake City. Was the Portland Trailblazers defeating the visiting Miami Heat 127-110 up in Oregon. And finally, in the Battle of Los Angeles, the upstart Clippers defeat the Los Angeles Lakers 112-104. NHL action yesterday saw the Sabres travel to Montreal and defeat the Canadiens 4-2 final there. Boston defeats the Golden Knights 4-3. Took a shootout for Chicago to get past Carolina down in Raleigh. 4-3 final there, a 1-0 victory for the Blue Jackets at home against the Dallas Stars. Senators fall to the Nashville Predators 5-3 on the road. It was a shootout victory for the Florida Panthers over the Winnipeg Jets 2-1 in Manitoba. Penguins all over the Edmonton Oilers up in the City of Champions, 6-2 final for the Pittsburgh squad. And the late game saw the Minnesota Wild take it in overtime. Comeback victory against the visiting Detroit Red Wings 4-3. In the PWHL last night, the Vancouver Golden Knights, they avenged a loss to Toronto from last Saturday with both an offensive explosion and a shutout. Sarah Nurse scores twice, while Kristen Campbell turns aside every shot she faces in the 5-0 victory. For the Vancouver squad in the Australian Open, the only remaining Canadian in singles competition wins Victoria Mboko with the 7-6, 5-7, 6-3 victory over Clara Towson of the United States. And that is your CHMA Sports Update for Friday, January 24th.
And that's Brian Nielsen with your CHMA Sports Update. Please be sure to check out Brian's show on Mondays at 8:30 a.m. for more sports commentary.
Hi, I'm Leah from Ballare Amore, and you're listening to CHMA.
Welcome, everybody, to yet another lovely late morning show with a different host, Siley, today. Before we jump into some exciting tracks, I wanted to give you all a rundown of some community events to look forward to this day itself and a few more days to follow. First up, the Sackville Cinematheque presents the 1946 masterpiece, A Matter of Life and Death, starting at 7 p.m. today, January 23rd, at the Owens Art Gallery. One of the great fantasy romance films of all time, A Matter of Life and Death features spectacular set design and Technicolor cinematography, as well as stirring performances by romantic leads David Niven and Kim Hunter. Please visit www.sackvillecinematheque.com for more information. Looking into some more events, one that's coming up today, Struts Gallery is presenting Dirty Picture 2, a solo exhibition by Ryan Danny Owen that transforms the gallery into a fantasy motel room film, set built from personal archives, bootleg tapes, and objects exploring queer longing, nostalgia, and loss. So this exhibition is running from January 23rd to April 15th, with an opening reception happening today from 5 to 7 p.m. when the artist will be in attendance. Tomorrow, day after tomorrow, there would be the Writers' Open Mic, which is a free monthly event that welcomes writers of all ages, genres, and backgrounds to share their work or simply listen and enjoy. The next gathering is going to take place this Sunday, January 25th from 3 to 4 p.m. at the Bill Johnston Memorial Park Center, offering a relaxed space for poetry, stories, essays, and works in progress. Everyone is more than welcome if you are reading for the first time or even if you're just curious about the local writing community. Also, on Monday, January 26th, the Committee of the Whole is meeting on Monday, January 26th from 3 to 5 p.m. in the Municipal Office Council Chambers at 31C Main Street. So these public meetings are generally to serve as information sessions on various subjects and are often the first opportunity for staff to present an item or issue to council, so decisions are not usually made at this stage. So this format gives councillors some time to reflect on the information and request any further details if needed, helping to support their decision making at a later regular monthly council meeting. So friends, thought of leaving you guys off with some exciting community events to look forward to. And now let's enjoy a few tracks here, only on CHMA 106.9 FM.
Hey folks, if you're looking for something to do on Wednesday evenings, Backtown Trivia is now back with its winter series. The doors open at 5 p.m. and trivia kicks off at 7 p.m. every Wednesday night. So do not miss out and head down with your friends to the Backtown Brewing Company. Hey folks, if you're looking for something to do on a Sunday afternoon with your kids under the age of 12, you can drop in on February 8th from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the Owens Art Gallery. You can bring your Valentine's Day ideas to life by creating GIFs, and the best part is that there is no registration required and it's completely free. So don't miss out, folks.
And that was your CHMA News. Please visit www.chmafm.com for more news and to sign up for our email newsletter. Funding is provided by our monthly sustainers, the Community Radio Fund of Canada, and the Municipality of Tantgimar's Community Development Grant. If you have a story idea or would like to include an announcement, please write us at news@chmafm.com.
Puis en plus de ça, j'ai les cheveux châtains. J'suis déjà coincé dans un grand monde d'hommes. Pourquoi donc j'en voudrais sur mon chemin? J'suis peut-être en train de parler d'amour, mais les comptes à rendre sont toujours bruyants. J'ai des reproches dans la tête à chaque jour, puis j'essaye de les faire fuir avec le temps. Si je m'en vais, si je reviens, si je repars en même temps, entre mes mains y'a des jours qui s'attristent trop souvent. Si les torts pis les vices nous font câlisser le camp, c'est pas moi qui l'a dit, c'est l'histoire des amants. Je serai pas la blonde à personne, pis en plus de ça, j'ai les cheveux châtains. J'suis déjà coincé dans un grand monde d'hommes. Pourquoi donc j'en voudrais sur mon chemin? Quand la romance passe par chez nous, j'y prépare un café aux arômes décevants, puis attirer ses jambes à son cou. Les meilleurs des souvenirs, c'est ceux qui se font la cour. Oh, le monde parle tout le temps, comme s'il fallait bien se compléter. C'est peut-être bien bon pour certains gens. Moi, j'ai pas besoin de personne pour être en entier. Si je m'en vais, si je reviens, si je repars en même temps, entre mes mains y'a des jours qui s'attristent trop souvent. Si les torts pis les vices nous font câlisser le camp, j'ai perdu mon charisme sous le parfum de l'engagement. Je serai pas la blonde à personne, pis en plus de ça, j'ai les cheveux châtains. J'suis déjà coincé dans un grand monde d'hommes. Pourquoi donc j'en voudrais sur mon chemin?
On weekdays at 1 p.m., Democracy Now! Produces a daily global independent news hour hosted by award-winning journalists Amy Goodman and Juan Gonzalez. Tune in to listen to a diversity of voices speaking for themselves, providing a unique and sometimes provocative perspective on global events.
Light.
Wonder by Danger Moose and More was the song you heard only on CHMA 106.9 FM. Friends, we are sort of coming very close to the end of the late afternoon show. I know you must be missing James's voice quite a lot. But James has gone on a quick little break, friends. He will be back with us on Wednesday. So hang tight. It's going to be me for a few more days. And then, of course, we're going to have James lighten up the airwaves back on Wednesday. Please continue tuning in. We have This Way Out coming at 10 a.m. Then followed by East Coast Kickoff with Ben Place at 11 a.m. A quick reminder that the East Coast Kickoff used to happen on Fridays at 3 p.m. and now it has been moved to 11 a.m. on the same day itself. And that's something I wanted to share with you all before I say goodbye. Also, we will be having my noon show at 12 p.m. today, then followed by a lot of amazingness. So please continue tuning in to know more what all of that is. Thank you, friends, for joining me today for the late afternoon show. And continue joining me if you want to hear me for the noon show as well. Stay safe, take care of yourself, and I hope you enjoy the next song, Break Your Heart by Jody Beck.
Life's like Canadian football, you don't get many chances.
Hi, I am Henry Adams Feck, and you are listening to CHMA 106.9 FM in Sackville, New Brunswick.
Life's like Canadian
I can't tell you, there's no words enough. All of the ways that I love. Sometimes it rains, sometimes it floods. Sometimes it changes us. And when it changes us,